Liverpool may have just signed the Premier League's next Thierry Henry, and hardly anyone is talking about it. So the question is, under Arne Slot, could Alexander Isak define a new era at Liverpool the way Henry once defined Arsenal? Last season, Alexander Isak quietly put together one of the most ridiculous campaigns we've seen from a Premier League striker in years. 23 goals. Only Mohamed Salah scored more, and he did it in a Newcastle side that wasn't even in the title race, a team that finished 5th and struggled for consistency in the second half of the season. When Newcastle were flying, Isak was unstoppable. When they dipped, he was the one still carrying the attack. He tore apart top defenses, scored in huge moments, and made defenders like Virgil van Dijk look ordinary. And it wasn't just the volume of goals, it was the variety. Left foot, right foot, headers, long-range finishes, solo runs. Isak looked like a striker who could do absolutely everything. Even more impressive, he wasn't playing in a possession-dominant side like Liverpool or City. Newcastle created far fewer chances, yet Isak still found ways to score, often out of nothing. That tells you one thing: he's not just a system striker, he's a difference maker. Now imagine giving that kind of player better teammates, more service, and more control of games. At Newcastle, Isak was forced to survive on scraps at times. At Liverpool, he's about to be fed chance after chance from Wirtz, Szoboszlai, and Salah. If 23 goals was his ceiling in black and white, in red, the numbers could get scary. And that's exactly why Arne Slot wanted him, because his Liverpool project isn't just about winning again, it's about building a system where a striker like Isak can reach his absolute peak. Arne Slot walked into Liverpool with a clear mission: evolve the team without tearing apart its identity. He wants that high-intensity pressing Liverpool have become famous for, but with more fluidity in possession and ruthless efficiency in the final third. And that's exactly why Alexander Isak is such a perfect fit. Slot's system is all about strikers who can do more than just finish. He needs forwards who can drop deep, link with midfielders, and then explode into space behind defenders. Isak has been doing that naturally at Newcastle, drifting wide, combining with teammates, then cutting inside with devastating pace. With Mohamed Salah still delivering goals, Liverpool suddenly have a front line packed with creativity, dribbling, and chance creation. What they were missing was a clinical, intelligent number 9 to knit it all together. Enter Isak. His ability to stretch defenses with diagonal runs opens up space for Salah on the right, and his composure in front of goal, that ice-cold Scandinavian finishing, gives Slot the kind of cutting edge that can turn good performances into 3 points. It's the perfect marriage. Slot gets his multi-dimensional striker, and Isak gets a system designed to maximize every ounce of his talent. And if you think this sounds scary for the rest of the league, well, it is, because at Liverpool, wearing the number 9 shirt comes with massive pressure and the history of legends. So the real question is, can Isak live up to that legacy? At Liverpool, the number 9 isn't just a number, it's a symbol, a responsibility, and a reminder of the legends who wore it before. Think back to Ian Rush, one of the greatest finishers English football has ever seen, a ruthless predator who scored over 340 goals for Liverpool and set the standard for what the number 9 shirt should mean. Fast forward, and you have Fernando Torres. In his prime at Anfield, Torres was unplayable. Pace, movement, deadly finishing. Defenders feared him every single week. And then, of course, Robbie Fowler. Pure instinct, pure Liverpool. He lived and breathed goals, and his name is still sung decades later. The point is clear. The Liverpool number 9 comes with history, pressure, and expectation. When you step into that role, you're not just playing football, you're carrying the weight of Anfield's past while writing its future. And here's where Alexander Isak's story takes on another dimension, because when you watch the way he glides past defenders, when you see him drift wide and explode centrally, when you study his composure in front of goal, it really begins. Thierry Henry wasn't just a striker, he was an experience, a defender's nightmare, a player who could turn any moment into magic. And when you watch Alexander Isak today, you can't help but feel that same energy. Think about Henry's trademark move, drifting out wide, luring defenders into uncomfortable positions, then cutting inside onto that right foot with devastating elegance. Now watch Isak. It's the same glide, the same deceptive change of pace, the same ability to make world-class defenders look ordinary. Henry was tall, elegant, and frighteningly quick. He didn't bulldoze through opponents, he passed them like a shadow, and that's exactly what makes Isak so dangerous. At 6 feet 4 inches with that stride, he doesn't look like he should be that quick. And yet, once he gets going, nobody can stop him. The keeper, calm, clinical, ice cold. Now look at Isak last season at Newcastle. 23 Premier League motion, just inevitability. And then there's the aura. Henry played with a swagger that told defenders he was already 2 steps ahead. Isak carries that same quiet confidence. Not arrogance, just a calm assurance that when the chance comes, the net is going to ripple. This isn't to say Isak has already reached Henry's level. Nobody's claiming that. But the parallels are undeniable. And in football, when you see those patterns, history often has a way of repeating itself. And here's the scary truth. Henry changed the trajectory of Arsenal forever. If Isak can channel even a fraction of that magic at Liverpool, he might just do the same, but on an even bigger stage. Which leads us to the final question. So, could Alexander Isak really replicate Thierry Henry's success at Arsenal, but in a Liverpool shirt? Let's break it down. First, the system. Arne Slot's Liverpool isn't Klopp's Liverpool, where Klopp's Reds thrived on chaos. Slot's thrive on control and patterns. It's positional play, it's overloads, it's exploiting spaces at exactly the right moment. And this is where Isak fits like a glove. At Newcastle, we saw how lethal he was when drifting wide, dragging defenders out, and then timing his runs into the box. Under Slot, those patterns will be rehearsed, refined, and weaponized. Second, the supporting cast. Henry had Robert Pires, Dennis Bergkamp, and Freddie Ljungberg feeding him. Isak will have Dominic Szoboszlai, Alexis Mac Allister, and Florian Wirtz behind him, with Mohamed Salah still demanding attention on the right. That means Isak won't just get service, he'll get premium, custom-tailored chances every single week. Third, the stage. Henry thrived in the Premier League spotlight, every big goal adding to his legend. Isak now has the same opportunity, but in a football world that's more global, more connected, and more obsessed with highlight moments than ever. His brand will explode just like Henry's did 2 decades ago. And finally, the mentality. Henry came to Arsenal with doubters, people who thought he'd flop after struggling at Juventus. He turned that into fuel. Isak's journey has been similar, written off at Dortmund, questioned in Spain, and now reborn in England. That resilience, combined with his elegance on the ball, is what makes him more than just a great striker. It makes him a potential era-defining one. So yes, Isak could absolutely replicate Henry's success, not by being a carbon copy, but by being Liverpool's version of the same story, the foreign striker who changed everything.